Good evening, everyone. Chris Profi, musically obsessed. Well, I have the contest bug. Yep, I'm going to enter another contest. This is put out by Jam on Vinyl. Just subscribe to that channel. Looking forward to watching some more of those videos. He has a contest called Jam on History for his to celebrate over 270 subscriptions. And this is an interesting one. He wants at least 5 either albums or songs that relate or connect to a person or an event in history. And also, as a bonus question, he wants to know a favorite mono album that we have. So here we go. My first one. Miles Davis, A Tribute to Jack Johnson. This album came out in 1971. And it's about the African-American boxer, Jack Johnson, who won the world heavyweight boxing title back in 1908. Very, very, very good album. I'm a huge Miles Davis fan. Herbie Hancock is on here as well. John McLaughlin's on here. Just a great album. 2 long songs. You got a song called Right Off on side 1, which is close to 27 minutes long. And then a song called Yesternow, which is close to 26 minutes long. Huge Miles Davis fan. And, you know, can't get much more historical than that, right? All right, next. I'm also a huge Johnny Cash fan. Now, Johnny Cash did a whole bunch of songs on historical events. I happen to pick this album. This is called Johnny Cash America. This came out in 1972. It's called America, a 200-year salute to story and song. And it's basically dedicated to American history. So you have some spoken word on here. You have songs that Johnny Cash does about Paul Revere, the Alamo, the Gettysburg Address, President Garfield, and the list goes on. Very, very cool concept record by Johnny Cash. This is actually part of the Columbia box set that I own as well. Did a video on that a while back. All right, next. This was one of the first albums that I ever owned as a kid, called Train Ballads. This happens to be a 45. This came out on the Scholastic Records label. And you've got John Henry on here, Wabash Cannonball, Drill Ye Terriers, Casey Jones, and I've Been Working on the Railroad. So I'm going to pull 2 songs off of this album for the historical connection. The first one is John Henry. And as we know, that's a very famous folk tale, tall tale about the legend of John Henry. Many people have done songs about John Henry. I would like to think it's based on a real person. And of course, it's embellished. The other song I want to pull off of here for that historical significance is Casey Jones. Named after a real person, Jonathan Luther Jones, who was an American railroader. And I just want to get the date right here. April 30th, 1900, his train collided with another train, and he perished in that. So, you know, many songs about Casey Jones, and many people have done, you know, renditions of that song, including the Grateful Dead. So that was pretty cool. Wow, lots of 45s here. The Dead Milkmen, The Great Molasses Flood. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. I did not know that this was a real historical event. I looked it up. This album came out in 2013. But in Boston, January 15th, 1919, there was a storage tank filled with over 2 million gallons of molasses. And the thing cracked open and this molasses just flowed through the streets. Hence, the Great Molasses Flood. History. Donovan's Barabajaggle. Now, why am I pulling this album out? For the song Atlantis. Yes, folks, do you believe in Atlantis? Because I do. The lost city of Atlantis. It's in the history books. The story is embedded in our psyche. I believe in Atlantis. Donovan does too. This album came out in 1969. And my last one. One of my favorite singer-songwriters, Gordon Lightfoot. This happens to be his box set. Did a song called The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which is the story of the ship, the Edmund Fitzgerald, which sank on Lake Superior November 10th, 1975. There were 29 men on board. Beautiful song. Beautiful, basically a history lesson on that ship and about the men who perished. Now, I'm even going to go so far as to answer the bonus question. What is my favorite mono album? Janis Ian, self-titled, on Verve Folkways. I've talked about this album before. I actually did a whole video on Janis Ian's discography. I love Janis Ian. This album is just phenomenal. You've got Society's Child, Hair of Spun Gold, then Tangles of My Mind. You've got Pro Girl, Young Generation Blues, New Christ Cardiac Hero, Janie's Blues. This is just a great album. And I had suggested this to Mazzy in his depressing album video, and he actually showed it, and that reminded me of it, and it definitely is one of my favorites. So this is my favorite mono album. So there we go. Listen, definitely check out Jam on Vinyl. Great channel. And congratulations to Jam on Vinyl for over 270 subs. I'm hoping to get there at some point. So listen, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Listen to music.